Hello, I'm the CommanderZander. I remember it so the nostalgia critic doesn't have to, and neither should you. Ed Asner was one of the greatest actors that you could possibly imagine. He was great in TV, he was great in the movies, you name it. He was awesome to hear and be a part of. Well, unfortunately, he passed away over the weekend at the age of 91. But instead of mourning a loss, I'd like to reflect back on a life well lived and remember a legend who made movies and TV fun to watch when he was around. Many of you probably know him from the Mary Tyler Moore Show, and he did a tremendous job playing the boss. And again, the way it was meant for him to be in that role. Other stuff that he's been on, I remember he was a captain on Roots, which was a really, really good series. I highly recommend that. It's a must watch. But growing up, I remember him as J. Jonah Jameson from the Spider-Man animated series in the 90s, which again fit perfectly for him. He also played Santa Claus in the movie Elf with Will Ferrell, which again was another classic. And then he was Mr. Carl Fredricksen in the movie Up from Disney and Pixar, which Disney Pixar, they always come out with good movies, and that was one of those iconic movies that you remember. He left a lasting legacy with the way that he went about his job, the way that he performed. He was also on Broadway. He did Broadway's performances as well. I mean, you name it, and he did just about everything that you could think of. And that's what makes him a great legend. And not just that, he cared about people. He, particularly with autism, he really focused on that a lot with what he did. And so that in itself also left a lasting legacy too, because he cares, and people that care always leave a lasting legacy, because it's not what you do when you're alive, it's what happens when you're gone. And I think with him gone and what's going to happen down the road is, I think there's going to be a lot of people that are going to be like, I want to be like Ed Asner and be motivated. And Ed Asner was one of those that could motivate you and inspire you to do whatever you want to do. And so it's hard to put into words of Ed Asner. I mean, he sounded like a grumpy old man, but in all truthfulness, he had a really, really big heart. And it showed with his acting. I mean, he performed so well, and that makes him truly memorable. And I know I'm going on rambling at this point, but the focus of this editorial is to remember a legend and the lasting impact that he had. And that's what Ed Asner did. He left a lasting legacy and a lasting impact on life. And he made movies and TV shows a hit because of his presence. He didn't single-handedly make the movies great, but just the presence of being there, and the frame of mind that he had, and the focus. I mean, that's what made him a great all-around guy. And the movies that he was in, the TV shows that he was in, you remember him because of what he did and the roles that he played. He is a memorable, iconic legend. So if you get a chance, watch Roots, watch the Mary Tyler Moore Show, watch Spider-Man the Animated Series, the 90s version of it. Watch Elf, and watch Up, especially Up. And you're going to see why Ed Asner will be remembered as a true legend of the acting industry, and why he was part of the Screen Actors Guild for a few years. He defined what acting is all about. And Heaven definitely gained one of the greatest actors that ever lived. I'm the CommanderZander, and Ed Asner, you will always be remembered.